Welcome back, chess fans. In today's video, we'll look at a game played by Paul Morphy where he pulled off a beautiful attack, all while playing blindfolded and also in a simultaneous exhibition. So grab your popcorn and let's go. Okay, so the year is 1864 and we're in Havana, Cuba, and Paul Morphy is playing against Placido Dominguez, and here he opens up with pawn to e4. So here black responds with pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and here bishop to c4 chosen by Morphy, going for the Italian game. However, this quickly transposes back into the Scotch game, specifically the Scotch gambit, after these couple of moves. So here what Morphy chooses to do is to simply castle, and after bishop to c5 just simply developing, here Morphy goes for e5, trying to kick this knight away from the center. And now whenever you see a position like this in e4 e5 positions and you get hit with e5, the correct response by black is usually to counterattack this bishop with d5. And this is how these games generally continue, and sometimes the correct move for white is to go bishop b5. I'm not sure if it's probably not the correct move now, but sometimes this is the way to go. Sometimes you take, sometimes you can just go back. Like for example, here in some of these lines, e takes f6, d takes c4, and you take on g7, and the games get super sharp. And even here you can see this is still a book move. This is still a theoretical variation. So here, though, this is not what Dominguez played. Instead, he played this move knight to e4. And this is already a huge mistake. I would even say that this might even be a losing blunder. That's how bad this move is. First and foremost, you're going to notice that this knight is stuck on e4. It cannot go back to any of these squares because d6, f6, g5, they're all occupied. Even, forward, all of these squares are controlled by the white pieces. So what you could do here is play a move like queen to e2, attack the knight, and there's no good way to defend it, because if you defend it with moves like d5 or f5, it doesn't really matter which one. Let's say d5 for the sake of an argument. The problem is there's always e takes d6, and this opens up the queen's vision towards the king. This opens up a pin sort of on this black knight, and there's simply no good way to defend this piece. And if there are any good ways, let's say like f5 or something, trying to be as stubborn as possible, there's not much you can do, because here white pieces simply get way too much development. Even a move like knight to d2 here, you don't even have to go for the knight right away. You go with the bishop first, winning a tempo, getting an attack on the queen. The knight is pinned, so it cannot take. And after the queen moves, now knight d2, and here black can simply resign, because black is going to lose a lot of material. Rook to e1 is coming, the king is stuck in the center, and this is just a very bad position to play with the black pieces. But that's not what Morphy chose in the game. He didn't play queen to e2 here. Instead, he went for bishop to d5, attacking the knight this way. This is also a good move, not as good as queen e2 or like queen e1 or rook e1. Actually, I'm not sure if rook e1 is good, but I know that queen e2 or queen e1 are both good moves. The problem with bishop d5 is that it doesn't really develop a piece. So for example, when you go queen e2, you're attacking the knight, same as bishop d5, but you're also bringing a new piece into the attack, because right now the queen's not doing anything on d1. If it goes to e2, now it has a very, very clear purpose. But okay, so bishop to d5 was chosen by Morphy, f5 played by black, en passant played by Morphy, knight has to capture back, and then bishop to g5, developing a piece, pinning the knight to the queen. And here bishop back to e7 was played by the black pieces, which is the best move. It's very dangerous here. You cannot exactly castle, and playing a move like d6, this is like death. You do not want to be playing moves like d6, because then you're going to get hit with rook e1, and how do you defend the king? Where do you go, right? Let's say you go king to f8, like you don't have anything here. Takes on c6, takes on d4, and the attack simply continues. This is apparently even a mistake. It's better to just continue developing and probably go knight e4, but it's just too much development for the white pieces. So that's why playing a move like d6 is bad, and that's why black chose to instead go back with the bishop to e7, and that's what he did, went back with the bishop. And after bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, and then rook e1 check here. Knight back to d7, knight to e7 was played, and here knight to e5, a brilliant move chosen by Paul Morphy. So what's going on here? Why is this move a blunder, and why is this such a brilliant move? First of all, I want to say that knight e5 is the only move. And the reason why it's an only move is because you want to continue attacking this black king, and there's only one way that you can continue to attack this black king, and that is with queen to h5. So this knight jump to e5 opens up the door for the queen to give a check on on h5, and then g6 has to be played. So let's say a random move like d6, right? Here it's just simply queen to h5, and if g6 is played, there's this knight takes g6 going after the rook, and the knight is also pinned, which is a typical tactic in these sorts of positions. So that was the idea by Morphy, and here instead, black did not want to go into all of that, so he chose to capture on e5, and after queen to h5 check, not even recapturing right away, we throw in queen h5 first. This basically forces out g6. Knight g6, of course, still runs into a capture here, so pawn to g6, queen takes e5, and then rook to f8 chosen by black. And here knight to d2, Paul Morphy continues to develop and continues to bring new pieces into play. Pawn to c6 chosen by black, and here Paul Morphy just finished the game very, very beautifully with knight to c4, pawn to d6, knight captures on d6, and after king to d7, this leads to checkmate in 3 moves. After bishop to e6, king to c7, knight takes c8, there is nowhere for the black king to go. Queen has to block on d6, and after queen takes d6, this is simply checkmate. So as you can see, this was a very nice game played by Morphy, and not only that, this was an exhibition game, and not only that, it was blindfold simul. So it was like a exhibition simul, and it was also blindfold. So Paul Morphy was playing a lot of players while he was blindfolded, and he was able to perform such an amazing attack while blindfolded, which is absolutely incredible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.